Welcome to Boss Dragons. This is Derek, and this is another episode of What's in Your Passion. I'm really excited. I traveled all the way to Canada, was sightseeing. There was such beautiful moments out there. I just couldn't believe it that I was in Canada, in Toronto, to go see Billy and the crew in Mutation Creation. It was just like, I couldn't grasp what I was like witnessing, and it was just so surreal. I had so much fun with them. There was so much cool things there. I seen so many different reptiles. He doesn't just hold ball pythons. He had all kind of reptiles. So I'm gonna display that a little by little through this whole chapter in this episode. So do not miss out. You wanna see every reptile I displayed when I was there. It's just amazing. And plus you're gonna have tips from Billy. You don't want to miss out what he has to say about the market and how he market things. And all this information could be very helpful for you. So please really tune in, take notes, listen to what he has to say. Maybe this could give you a real creativity or just ideas what you want to do. But trust me, you do not want to miss out on these snakes. And we also have another episode coming after this one. I'm sorry it takes a little long. It's because I'm a breeder myself and I have to deal with offsprings and animals and children, of course. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Trust me, you do not want to miss all the animals that I have filmed. It looks so crazy on camera, so you want to see this. If you're really a reptile lover, take popcorn and just sit down and relax and watch this long video, but it's a worth long video from Mutation Creation themselves. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get this first. I appreciate you all for watching. Let's jump into it. Billy, you're one of the breeders that really work heavily with the freeway. I just want to know and ask, and everybody wants to know, what inspired you to go to that direction?
So when I first got into this, it was even, pre-pastel. Like pastel came, it's like, oh my God, the pastel. Cinnamon and spider, and it's like, wow, and black pastel, and oh, look at these new morphs. It was really crazy. And, people would breed stuff back and made a pewter and then like the lemon blast, and it was like mind-boggling. Like, oh, look what we're doing with these ball pythons. It was so crazy. And everything was sort of similar color pattern. They were here, pretty much the same thing, but just different,
Yeah.
And then I got into super stripe because I was like, wow, this is cool. It was similar to the genetic stripe back then, but it was different in some of the colors. And I'm like, wow, I went and wanted to get into that project. And then I saw the freeway, and at that point we were calling them highways. And I saw it and I'm like, you know what? It's so cool how it looks like a road. You know what? Wow, it's so awesome. I like this better. And I ended up selling my super stripe project in order to fund and a few other things to end up getting into the freeway. And then of course when I saw the super asphalt years later, so this was 2009, I bought my first freeway at $15,000.
Wow.
And then later, a few years later, I saw this. What is this? Super asphalt? Like, wow, just craziness. And then I saw a pastel freeway, and then everything else. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And I was already in, so then I went all in. I actually went, Todd Constable was the one who founded and created the freeway here in Canada, and that's where I was buying most of these animals. I'm like, well, I want everyone, and he's always ahead, and of course I'm going to keep buying from him, and which I was, but I want more. How do I create more if I don't have enough? And I'm always buying off of this guy. So I worked out a deal, and I bought all the original stock in his entire collection. From there, you've seen what I've done over the years. Now, as you've seen in some of the animals that you filmed, I really, really love the freeway and super asphalt, but I've done it with so many genetics, and not even, there's still some that people have made that I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I don't have some of those genetics, so I can't even create them. But they are in the back of my mind saying, hey, I'm gonna eventually do it or take it to another level, but I'm putting them into pine, into lab, into hypo, into clown pine. I'm also this year working on ultramel, monsoon stuff, and hopefully I hit, but I'm always chasing the odds and taking it to that next level. the sky's the limit. I've been doing this now. This will be since 2009. This year will be my 14th year breeding freeways, and I'm still excited about the project, except I'm not just making freeways or pastel freeways. If I am, they're double head or triple heads or a stepping stone to greater and bigger things to push the project forward. But I really love it. I've still done it from day one. As you see, I have a lot of it. It's injected into all my projects, yellow belly or asphalt, mainly asphalt. Yellow belly and asphalt have very similar traits, but to me, because yellow belly's been around there so long and it makes an ivory when you hit the super, I would rather replace all my yellow belly stuff. Well, not all my yellow belly, because I still want to make ivory combos and things down the road and use yellow belly in other combos that I make. But I definitely want to have asphalt in replace of most of my yellow belly, because when I do hit supers, I'm not hitting an ivory, I'm hitting super asphalts. And super asphalt combos, the more I make, the more I want to make, because they are phenomenal.
So what direction exactly you want to go forward, moving on forward? Like, what is the anticipated vision that you want to do for the freeway project?
So I don't really have a main goal. When you have a collection this large, it's hard to go, you know what, I only want to do this, or I only want to do that. Here it's like I can do this.
Well, let me say for a specific project, like for the freeway direction.
Well, a lot of the stuff that we're doing is new territory. Like when I started hitting freeway clowns, there wasn't any really to judge by. And then when I started seeing one, I believe Justin made one, in 2016 or 15, and there was a few other people. I'm like, wow, this is what I can make. They were making freeway, and I've also saw some highway clown stuff, and I'm like, if this is what it looks like, I can't wait to make more, because I was excited of other people producing them. So now that I started making them, and as if you've seen, some of the adults, they look like you were even saying, like, wow, look at the color on these things. These are adults. I'm like, yeah, and it's like they glow, and yes, and they have pastel in them. So it's amazing, because I don't really know what I want to go after, because I sort of assume, like, I really thought that super asphalt and freeway in piebald would have had a more stronger effect. It didn't. It's still nice, but it needs more things in order to amplify it. As you saw, the leopard freeway clown pied. It's awesome, it's vivid, but it needs something more. So I think moving forward, it's not just take two animals, put them together and make something cool. It's take two animals together with other recessives and other genes to make ingredients to make something down the road that's even better. And one thing that I like now is I don't, a lot of the projects I'm in, I don't really have a path or a guideline to go after. So it's like, if I do this and this, I know what it's going to look like. A lot of the stuff I make, I have no idea how it's going to come out. And that's what's exciting, because I'm putting all this effort in. I'm going to do this, and let me get some Enchi in, and let me get some more OD, and let me get some of this. And I got confusion getting into the project, and acid, and then enhancer, ultramel, more asphalt. And once I start creating something, I'm sure I'm going to be disappointed with a few combos, but a lot of the combos is going to be like, wow, it's so amazing to keep going forward in a project, because not everything's going to be a home run. You're going to do things, and especially in this hobby.
Exactly.
We chase 1 in 16, we chase 1 in 8, 1 in 4, 1 in 2, and even higher. And we're not always going to hit it. I've had 1 in 4 odds and 9 eggs, and I didn't hit the 1 in 4. Wow. And then I've had the same odds, and I've hit 7 out of 8. So, there's so many things that we need to do and move forward. And one thing that drives me is not knowing. Like,
that's beautiful.
It is. And I still get excited. And that's why, on YouTube, there's a lot of clutches that we're not cutting, because they're all going to be pied or Enchi pied triple heads. Wow, they're all the same. It's an Enchi pied.
Yeah.
It's not really exciting for me, like, oh my god, another Enchi pied.
Yeah.
I produced Enchi pieds many years ago, and a lot of other combos. So to me, it's something that, it's an ingredient or a stepping stone to future projects. Because when I'm cutting a clutch of eggs from an orange dream or an Enchi pied triple het to whatever I paired to it. Now the egg cutting is intense, right? But that's a stepping stone for years down the road. And I don't just want to, and like you said with the freeway, where I'm going with it, I don't really know. It's just if I'm making stuff, I want it to be better than the stuff I've already made, and I want to push the envelope even higher.
Exactly.
And it's something where it takes time, and a lot of the stuff that I'm making, I mean, they're 5-7 year projects with great odds, but that 5 to 7 years, starts the minute I make the pairing. So if you wait, let me wait a couple years to do it. Well, now you're 2 years behind the 5 to 7. So now you're 7 to 9, and doing things now, and I'm doing it because I love it and I enjoy it, and I want to take things to newer levels. My freeway, my super asphalt project, I want to take it to another level. I don't know what that level looks like. I don't know what they're going to be. It could be a disaster, but I'm going to find out because I'm the one chasing. Instead of sitting back and going, I'm just going to wait to see what these other guys do before I do it. I'm not that guy.
Exactly. You can't be.
So you can't be. And
you got to stay in your own lane, do your own thing.
Correct. And even though I'm in my own lane doing my own thing, doesn't mean it's going to come when I want it. I might miss for the first 2 years. And if anybody's watched me on YouTube, my very first freeway clown, 3 years, number 9 clutch. I finally hit my first one, and I was 1 in 16 to hit one with the odds that I was playing with.
And that's consistency.
3 years, 9 clutches, and in the last clutch of the year, I finally hit one. Now I'm hitting about 10 or 12 a year.
Yeah.
Big difference between 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, just because you have the ingredients doesn't mean it's coming, and hopefully it does, but sometimes you gotta wait and that's why I really go after it and let people know you've got to have more than one clutch, especially if you're chasing higher odds. Have at least 3 or 4 females for that male for that project with different genetics, because if you only have one male and one female, your shots of trying to hit that 1 in 16, you get one shot. What happens if you had 2 clutches and you missed, but if you had a third you would have hit? Well, now you got to wait another season. So you really got to plan out, and that's the thing. I'm trying to make different genetics into the freeway and super asphalt. So you're going to see in the future from us super asphalt freeways, super asphalt monsoons, freeway monsoons, ultramalpide freeways and super asphalts, different double recessives. We are going to be working on the hypo clown pied.
Wow.
Super asphalt and freeway, and then of course hopefully having leopard, Enchi, and yellow belly. We're very strong in that with the asphalt and freeway stuff, and then sky's the limit. Once I start getting these double recessive and triple recessive freeway or super asphalt combos, now I can start taking that and putting it into a fourth and really step my game up, and not only step my game up, but actually increase my odds. Instead of being 1 in 16 or 1 in 8, get down to 1 in 4 or even 1 in 2.
Yeah.
So it's a long process, but doing it and the satisfaction of when you hit, or at least when we cut the eggs, did we hit it? And then that 3 or 4 days waiting for that animal to crawl out of the egg so you can properly ID it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, but it's exciting, man. Every minute. When I see a lock of animals that I know that's for a pairing that I really want to make ingredients for, and I'm like, wow, here it is. And then cutting the egg, it's just awesome. And then raising it up and then doing the whole cycle over again.
Is this really, really exciting when you first see that animal that you're hitting? It's like you just can't explain that feeling. It's like you have to experience it yourself to feel that adrenaline. It's just
it is adrenaline, and then it's when I see the pairing, or I think it starts for me when we get the females from the whole back room into the adult room here. Then when they're here, we start feeding them bigger meals. As well as we start ultrasounding them. We get them on our ultrasound cycle. And then once oh my God, she's 11, 12 mils, we put a little white and yellow on, making it that she's now at 11 or 12 millimeters or higher, so that she's now building follicles. And now we put this on to say that we need to pair a male. And then once we put her in the system, who are we going to put her with? Okay, cool. That's exciting. Then when you put the male in and you look and you see the lock, that's exciting. And then you see the eggs. That's exciting. It's actually exciting too to see an ovulation, but we don't really check for ovulations as much as we should here. We just put blacks like this on the tub, and we know that she's over 30 millimeters or 3 centimeters. So we just leave her be and stop feeding and stop pairing. But once you see the eggs, it's like, wow. And then once you be able to cut them or see them pip and then you can cut and open them up, then that's exciting. And then it's like, oh, please be a male, please be a male. Then you gotta wait, or a female, whatever you're rooting for. Then it's that extra 3-4 days or 5 days for them to come out of the egg so you can properly identify them and sex them. So it's great. And then raising them up and seeing them age. I've had some that I thought would age better. I've had some animals that I thought would really age better, and they don't. And then I have some that are like, and all of a sudden it's like, what's this? And you gotta look at the tag and I'm like, wow, that's aging really nicely. So I've noticed that quite a bit. Animals, age and change a lot differently than you think they would. And it's great having so many animals to hold back and grow up, because you get to, you get to see and witness that change. And most of it's for the better, especially if you're working with the right genetics, and it's exciting. So I'm very happy.
So Billy and Austin, I just want to ask, everybody wants to know this because we don't know everything behind the scenes. How did you guys known each other? How did it begin?
Well, probably first at the expos. A couple of expos, I came by the booth, talked to Billy, and I was.
And said, I'm gonna come by one day. I'm like, yeah, because my facility at the time was in Mississauga, and he lived in Mississauga.
Well, actually living in Toronto still at that point.
Oh, see, even prior. See that? Yeah.
I was still living in Toronto, and then after I bought a snake from him, it was like a leopard fire.
Wasn't it the super?
Leopard fire woman was the first snake I bought.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Yeah,
I thought it was the super blade enchi.
Super
blade enchi clown.
I think it was like 2015. I first bought that snake, and then a year later at an expo, I came by his booth, and he had like a super enchi blade clown male, and I was like, oh, I really want this and stuff. And then
I think you put a deposit down on it, and then you're gonna say, hey, I'll hold it for you, and then you can pick it up. And you actually came to the facility in the Mississauga that we had.
Yeah, I sold my motorcycle and bought the clown.
Talk about investment.
Yeah.
Dedication. Awesome snake at that.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Yeah, and at the time it was awesome. It was a proven breeder. And I think at that point when you were there, I was showing you around the place, and then it's like, hey, hey man, if you ever need any help, I'm like, yeah, I'll think about it. And at the time I wasn't this big. It was still controlled, and I was more hands-on. I wasn't on. I always swear a lot, so you can bleep that out.
I can bleep it out.
I just get, ooh, this is real and raw, baby. That's how you get it.
Uncut.
You guys know, you know. And at the time, I wasn't really YouTube. I wasn't doing Patreon. I was more hands-on and doing stuff, and it was like, I don't really need them at the time. And then maybe a few expos later, I saw him. I'm like, hey man, you still interested in helping out? With part-time, and he started coming in one night a week and a
Sunday,
weekend.
I think Sunday, every Sunday.
Yeah, every Sunday. And then the person that I had that was part-time, full-time, wanted more hours, and I just didn't have it at that time. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm growing. I knew I was continuing to grow, just where I was, where I'm at now, and the whole mindset I had of keep growing and breeding and holding stuff back, the future. And I'm like, I can't do it now, but next year I definitely will. And unfortunately, they couldn't stick around. And I think it was actually there the day when he was there Sunday. Yeah, today's my last day. I'm not here anymore. And he's like, oh, I can work, full time. I'm like, dude, you're in school.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, you know what? Unless I talk to your mom or your dad. And he ended up 8 years later. Here you are. Yep. And it's been pretty good. I mean, we've had our ups and downs. Oh, yeah. At first,
that's normal.
But at first, I'm the boss, right? Hey, you work for me, you do what I do. Then all of a sudden, when he started, hey, Austin, for the first 4 years, what did I not let you guys do?
Oh, I didn't feed.
I never let him feed no one fed my collection but me. All the animals, 1,000 animals at that time, probably 1,000 or so. I did all the feeding. I didn't want no one else doing it. And I was almost like a control freak. What do they call it? Like a
Micromanaging.
Yeah, no one could do it as good as me. So I always did it myself. But guess what? I needed help, and then more animals, and you know, and you know, I had full faith in him. I mean, he's been around for 3-4 years, and he does everything here. It's great, and you know, learning and someone to talk to and get excited about. Then he started filming my YouTube and having ideas, and it just naturally grew. Yeah, I mean, he's the one that got me onto cocoa. I had everything on paper. He's like, let's try cocoa.
I used to smell.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's cool. I bet it must have been smelly.
Yeah, but guess what? I knew every tub was, you know, clean and this, and it was perfect. And for me, I guess that's part of the OCD. But guess what? I knew, but it was a lot of work, man. Like we were, I think we weren't even breeding snakes. That was part-time. You know what we were doing full-time? Cleaning.
It'd take me a week just to clean the females we had, and we didn't even have them.
Yeah, because everything was full. Like there was no spot clean. It was full, clean, sterilized. You know, it was a big process. But then, you know what? Talking with him, and you know what? Let's get into the cocoa. So we did the cocoa for the adults only for about a year, and I saw the difference with the smell. I saw the difference in, you know, now we could do this and have time to ultrasound. It's like, wow, you know what? We're not constantly slaves to the tub cleaning and you know, keeping the collection healthy and sterilized or whatever, you know, maintained. So I saw benefits, and then it's like, okay, let's do the holdbacks. And then we went to the holdbacks. And if you even look back, even like 4, 5, 6 years ago, even my hatchlings, all my hatchlings were on paper towel, you know, and I did that, and those were the last things that I did, and now everything's on cocoa. But it took me a while just to get the idea. You know, I think you brought it up and maybe like, okay, let's do this cocoa thing. Like,
I wouldn't stop. It
kept bugging me, right? And it worked out great. So, you know, and little things like that, right? And this attention to detail, and you know, we've butt heads on things, like the hypo. We have a hypo story where he's like, dude, get rid of the hypo. I'm like, dude, I like it. No, but it's no money in it. And like, no, there's so many other things. You should focus on other things. I'm like, dude, I don't give a hell what I'm focusing on. I like hypo. I want to make hypo stuff. And we actually got in not a fist fight, but it's like, yeah, you know what? You don't like it. I'm keeping the hypo. You don't want it? You're fired. And I fired him. And I said, don't come back. I'm not getting rid of the hypo. And I was like mad. And I even probably smashed something because that's what I go like, yo. And I probably smashed something like a water bottle or a jug, right? Something went flying.
Raw and cut.
Yeah. And and guess what? I'm glad I kept the hypo, right? Like, because it's something.
And then it worked out, and look, Austin's here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we've butted heads, but I can leave.
It's normal.
Right now, and you know, he has the adult room. Like even when you were here, it's like, hey, what can we do? I'm like, I don't know where he left off. Because you know, I don't know where his the way he does his thing, because it's his room.
Yes.
So I don't want to go in there and I don't like the way this looks. Change it around because it's not my system, it's his.
Yeah.
You know, so I've come in and it's like, hey, did you do this, or what does this mean? And he'll tell me. So if I need something, I can just simply call. But I've let so much go, and it's like, you know, my collection's his collection, and you know, his collection's here, and you know, we 99.9%, nothing's 100, but we're gonna merge, and you know, we do 40-50 pairings a year as a breeder home, you know, and then his stuff, my stuff, and
it all works together.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
A merger.
I mean, that's where we're at, and I trust him with my life and my animals, and you know, I wouldn't have gotten here without him and everyone else that's
beautiful.
been on Team MC. I would be where I'm at because I have the drive. I just wouldn't be able to do the Patreon, the YouTube. It would be a lot different to get to where I am now without my crew. And I don't think I would even be at the level I'm at without him. I would be at a higher level than I was, because that's, you know, before I met him, I got to where I was when he came by myself with a few certain people.
You were climbing.
And you know, now it's sort of like, wow, you know, I enjoy, you know, doing things like the Patreon and, you know, revamping things, and, you know, there's other stuff we're doing around here, and, you know, it's a growing thing for me as well. But I know that, you know, with him and I together and focusing and you know, I don't want to do that, but I want to do that. Okay, you know, let's bring a mediator in. Like, you know, there's going to be stuff where, hey, like, you know, he's got visions, I got visions, and I think it may be a little difficult to work together, but not so much. Like, nothing's going to be 100%. Oh, yeah. Oh, you think that too? Great, let's do it. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm sure there's going to be that you know,
Yeah, the
You know,
creativity
that
block.
negative magnet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You put that magnet the wrong way together sometimes,
Yeah.
it just doesn't go. And the other way, it's like, whoop. You know, so I know we have it. But if I'm going to do it, it's with him. Like, you know what I mean? Like 8 years plus. And he's seen what I've gone through and what I'm capable of and, you know, what I'm not capable of sometimes. So, you know, it's been a learning experience. And I like to change.
Let me ask something real quick, and,
Yeah.
and this is for like viewers watching. What kind of like advice you can give like to get in a step where you at as a business?
So, you know.
What kind of advice? Like
gotta
you don't have. It's gonna be ups and downs. I know there's ugly stuff.
So here's the thing that's personal. I kept growing at an exponential rate, okay? And nothing was gonna stop me. COVID came, everything's great. I'm like, oh, look how great it is. Let me hold even more back, you know? I held even more back instead of a lot of people were selling it off, enjoying the high volume of numbers. I'm like, let me hold more back. Let me get into more things. And it's not really a mistake on my end, except when the bubble burst and it came down. Now, I have a lot of animals and I couldn't do, I enjoy doing the expos. And I would create a lot of stuff that, you know, I would make a pairing, hit 1 or 2 animals and the other 5 or 6, oh, it's okay. It's expos. When I couldn't do expos for a few years, I have a lot of animals. I'm still feeding and taking care of them. Even wholesalers, you know, everything's gone down where I would be able to move a lot of these last year or a year or 2 ago. Hey, wholesale, hey, here's 50, here's 40. It's not the case. Still holding them, still breeding them. I'm not breeding them, but caring for them. They're clean, you know, fresh water dishes, you know, nice and healthy. And look at this one, this one wants to eat me.
No, God, please, no!
I still have to do that. Now, there's a cost. Thank God I do my own rodents, and I have an amazing staff that's here, and we're able to manage it. But now I'm feeling it where it's like, I do have a little too much. I do have a lot of projects that are built great, but I should be making the ones that are even greater. And, you know, the tri-stripe stuff, I just hit some more. It's like, you know, I'm playing with it because I like what it does, but do I really want to put all that extra time into that, starting something else new? Or do I really concentrate more on the stuff that I have now and take it to other levels? I'm always doing that regardless, but instead of moving like this, I could be moving like this. So I would grow in to see where you're at. Like people go, oh, I want to do 50 clutches. Well, try 10 first and see where you're at. And then do 20. And then do 30 and go, oh, this is too much. I'm going to go back to 20. Instead of going from 10 to 50, because it's rough. And like I said,
It's a big jump.
it's a big jump.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing is I did a big jump, but I'm working my rear end off to keep these animals housed and fed, the time, the rodents, and it's there. But I decided to jump, and now I have to you know, do what I have to because I made the jump. Now,
So
if
pretty
I
much
knew now,
you're making like like a chance. You're taking a chance.
You have to
yeah.
have faith in
You have to have faith in
So
what you
here's
do.
the thing. You breed an animal. You go buy a $5,000 male and you get a bunch of females that are great. You breed them together. Wow, you're making amazing animals, amazing combos. They're really a decent price. Doesn't mean they're going to sell. They should if you know what you want and the people out there. You're making stuff that's not
The same aspect with
it's not
everybody.
mass produced, you know, like it's not easy doing the business end and you know, just breeding and taking care of, doing rodents and all that other stuff and the excitement and you know, it's great to get there. But then now I have a business, you know, I have to, you know, pay employees, pay for the building, do this, do that. Now you got to find out where the balance is. The higher the expenses are, the more you have to sell. Well, I don't want to sell everything I make because I'm keeping it in order to grow. Guess what? Now I have to make more than I want because I want to keep most of the good stuff and all the byproduct of the stuff that I don't want to keep, I have to sell. So if my expenses are here, okay? If my expenses are here and I make 20 animals and I keep 10, I still have enough to pay the bills. But when it's here and it's like, okay, well, I want to keep this money. Well, it's not going to pay, so I got to make this many. And that's where I've you know, tripped a little because the price and also the price drop, and also because I'm in Canada, we have a little bit of a disadvantage because shipping out of the country, which is 85-90% of our animals, It's costly, and I can't just ship next day or next week. I gotta wait every 4 weeks, every month usually.
And even the weather too.
And the weather as well, that comes into play. So now all of a sudden it's like, hi, yeah, I'd like to buy that animal. When can I get it? I'm shipping in 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now, or 5 weeks. Oh, you can't ship tomorrow? Unfortunately, no. And people like, they want it today, and I get it, but that's a disadvantage. And on that, I actually, take some of the loss of the shipping. So
Okay.
if a shipment's $400, I can't say, hey, you know what, you want this animal, like a breeder female? It's $400 to ship. $400? That's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy, but that's the size and that's how it works. The cost of the broker, Fish and Wildlife inspection, shipping it, the box, and everything.
The weight of the animal.
So what I do, the weight. So what I end up doing is like, hey, you know what? Here it is. Most of the animals, 2,000 and up, I'll pay the shipping. It's $2,000.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know why? I'm taking a loss. So I'm not getting as much as other people would in the United States.
Yes.
But my animals are getting there. I'm working with people, and it's not always about the money. Like, yeah, I'm losing money, but guess what? I'm gaining customers. I'm gaining people to take animals and go, I can't believe I got a Mutation Creation. Oh, I got these genes that I want. Wow, and yes, I'm losing financially, but I'm gaining that, in my opinion, is way better than financial. And I love it, because how many people, hey, look what I got. Hey, Billy, that female that I got's on eggs. Look, wow, man. I love that.
It's the passion. It's the passion.
It's great. So. And I've even talked to a lot of other people. It's like, no, it's $2,000. Well, shipping's $2,300. But no, it's $2,300. Why don't you sell that animal for $2,000 and take that $300 loss?
Yeah.
You're getting a client, a customer, and you're moving an animal.
That's pure customer service.
And the worst part is, and I feel bad for the person, because they want that extra, because they feel in their head, oh, if I sell it for $2,000, I'm losing $300. No, you're gaining $1,700, and you're getting $300 the shipping. But they keep this animal, and 7-8 months later, okay, they're putting $40-$50 in labor and food and stuff into this animal.
It starts to add up.
And then they don't sell it, and it's getting big. And guess what? Now the food costs more. It needs to go to a bigger tub. It needs more space. And then they lower it. They would have been so smarter to sell it for $1,700, pay the $300 out of the $2,000. And that $1,700, instead of putting $50 in or all this extra money into food and labor
Exactly.
and stuff, and then growing it and selling it now they put it up for $1,800. Well, you just lost you could have had $2,000 as a baby. Never mind, now you got 18 plus all the food and time you put in. So it's not an easy formula. I haven't been, Mutation Creation was, I want to do this, and it just soared. I go up and down and back, and it's when you come down, you don't go back down to the bottom. You go up and you go down, then you go back up and this, and I don't even mind staying plateaued for a while. As long as I keep going this way or during that plateau, I'm finding a way. How do I change? Because if I don't make a change, I'm gonna start going like this. What
Exactly.
do I do and how do I do it? And sometimes I go down and back up, and then there's
not a lot of ups. Sometimes you're gonna have downs, but you could climb back up.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you start noticing a down or nothing changing, you better start realizing it and say, hey, okay, like, if this keeps up, and this is called like forecasting, if I keep running the way I am now, where am I gonna be in 6 months? And it's usually not up, okay? So, I got 6 months to do something and change before starting to go down and down. And even if you go down a bit, as long as those changes make you come back up, and that's where I'm at, I've done a lot of things here and made a lot of changes. I'm still making changes. And one thing that I did is I love making animals. I love holding stuff back. And in Austin for years, Billy, why do you got this thing? Well, it's an orange dream enchi yellow belly hypo het clown. Dude, you got breeders. You got 5 others. Do I? Like, yeah. So, but I mean, it's, why do you got this thing? It's an orange dream enchi hypo het clown. I can make the super. You got them already. Okay, I guess I'm a hoarder in a way.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah, in a sort of way.
I am in a sense of small way. I'm a little hoarder.
You gotta be a hoarder to do it right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and you know what? The thing is even if I have them, it's not like, I have a better time selling animals that are 800-900 grams than they are that are 200. Because I could even ask the same price or a little more, and someone on Morph Market or someone inquiring, it's like, well, this person has an animal that's 300 grams at 1,500. And this one's like 900 or 1,000 at 1750. That's more appealing to somebody because it's already got a year of growth. So it's not like I'm losing. And a lot of times too is I'll package some of those older females up with a younger male, because that's another thing that I get.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like say Dreamsicle. Oh, I really want to get in the Dreamsicle project. You got a couple of these males, but I have no females for them. Oh, I can change that. Here's a male, the Dreamsicle. Here's a pied het a lav. Here's a yellow belly lav het pied. Here's a breeder double het. Here's a package for you. So now it makes that young male 100% more sellable because it's got a backing behind it that makes sense for the customer. So, I mean, we do a lot of things here that you know, we try, but not every animal's gonna sell. Not every animal is, you know, is what someone's looking for today. And, you know, but in 4 months from now, somebody might be looking for that animal, because I've had that too. Hi, you know, I saw this animal. Do you have anyone else like it? No. It's like, wow, you know, I couldn't sell it for 6 months, and then I sold it. Now I get 5 people the next 3 months inquiring about the same type of animal.
That always happens.
It's timing,
normal.
right? So, you know,
timing is everything.
A lot of people think they're going to make a snake and it's going to sell out the door the minute they have it, the minute they take a picture and put it online. No. So you've got to factor in the space, the cost, the food, and everything else that goes along with that. We don't have a book and a path that we're following. We're doing it and making it as we go. We're adjusting as we go. You know, I didn't go from 100 snakes to 1,000 in a year. I went from 100 to 200 to 300 to 500 to 700 to 900. I went from 30 clutches to 60 to 90 to 120 to 170 to 250. You know, so now I know the range I want to be in. You know, oh, I can go to 500 if I want to. But between the two of us, we got like 600-700 breeder females. Do I want to have 600-700 clutches? Hell to the no right now. You know, I'm not prepared for it. Now, if I was, you know, had the infrastructure, you know, and knowing what happens if these didn't sell and how long I'd have to hold them and my cost, and I would look at it and say, you know what, hey, I think we could do it. It might be tight, but let's give it a roll. We have a forecasted analysis of what we want to do and what it's going to take us to do it. If we can't fulfill any of those, don't do it.
Thank you so much for this advice.
Yeah, but one good
and a
thing
lot
is-
of people would love more advice from Billy, you know?
Yeah,
and
well,
Austin as well.
Well, what's good is like I get to, you saw it the other day. You
Yeah.
know? He comes back and says, hey, Billy, you know what? We ultrasounded, here's some animals. Okay, what should we put to it? Oh, this is a good idea. We bounce stuff off each other. You know, we do that. And it's great because I've done it by myself for years. And like I said, I've laughed and stuff where before I used to cut a clutch by myself and, you know, oh my God, this made, wow, yeah, woo! I high-fived my rack because I was so excited when it hit because I couldn't share that feeling with anyone else.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. You see us. We even have egg races that I lose, but you know, it's amazing to share that and have other people like, hey, what do you think this is? Like, you know, hey, it's this, it's that, and you know, it's good to have another pair of eyes on. And if I do something that's going to screw up, you know, or vice versa, hey, you know what, I wouldn't do that. Why? Oh yeah, I've had a few times, you know, keeping you back on course, and it's great. It's awesome, and I think, you know, the future is great for both of us, you know, especially together. I honestly believe so, and
I believe that.
you know, so,
You guys complement each other very well when you guys work together.
yeah, I believe so, you know. And
You guys have like 2 different personalities, but it works out.
yin and yang. Am I the yin or the yang? You yin and yang, yang.
I want to be yang.
You wanna be yang?
He wants to be the yin.
Oh, I guess you're yin, I'm yang. Yin yang. Goodness, whatever.
All right.
Awesome.
If you had made it this far, I appreciate you so much. I know it was a long video, but it was a well-informed video for you to take notes, listen to what Billy had to say, and watch all those incredible animals. I promise you, the next video is gonna be awesome. It's just gonna be about why they prefer this gene over that one, or why it's better, but they're not knocking the other gene off. It's just preference at the end of the day. So please do not get too down about a gene that you're working with and is getting shut down. It has nothing to do with that. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I really, really appreciate it and all the hard work so I can keep doing all of this to help you guys like keep watching and herp out with me and nerd out with all these things that we love to watch and share with one another. It's a beautiful thing. So please, if you love reptiles and you love nerding out to things like this, stay tuned in. Do not walk away. I appreciate you all so much and thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.